evening and welcome to Left, Right and Centre. Tomorrow marks 1 year since the killings of 3 young men that sparked off the deadly communal riots in Western Uttar Pradesh's Muzaffarnagar district. Now its victims still trying to stitch together their lives as they struggle with loss and wait for justice. Out of over 500 FIRs filed and several promises made, investigations have been sluggish at best. In an atmosphere where fear dominates the air and polarization has become a political tool to use as parties prepare for assembly elections, we ask just what, if any, lessons have been learned in the last 1 year. In fact, just this past weekend, the BJP avoided using the term love jihad and its definition of forcible conversions of Hindu girls to Islam from its resolution on a political agenda for the 2017 assembly polls. The omission of the term was not voluntary but done so after the state unit developed cold feet when the BJP's central leadership frowned upon it and opposition parties shouted out concerns over it. But the controversy over the term has raged well since the Muzaffarnagar riots and continues to add to the rift between communities. Not only that, its free use also points to chauvinistic patriarchy, where a woman has little or no agency in making her own life choices. But first, our attention on the victims of last year's riots. It's been a year since communal violence tore Western UP's Muzaffarnagar district apart. We return to see a region still tense and still in the throes of communally divisive politics. The worst impacted, young girls who've lost not only an entire year of education and childhood, but also feel their future now seems as bleak as the past year has been traumatic. Radhika Bordia reports.
In the past 1 year, Saiba has lived first in a relief camp, now in this rented place. As her family tries to piece together a life torn apart by the riots, in the midst of endless trauma, what Saiba finds most painful is the loss of her education.
अब डर का माहौल है, इसलिए घर वाले पढ़ाने के लिए मना कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं आगे पढ़ना चाहती हूँ.
Somehow, under police escort and with other girls from the camp, Saiba was able to return to finish her board exams in her school in Kankra village, one of the worst affected by violence. That was the last time she got to read, write and see her best friends Shivani and Vaishali.
मैम सारी हिंदू ही दोस्त, हिंदू ही थे सारी दोस्त. स्कूल जाने का मन करता है.
तो हिम्मत रखो, है ना?
कॉलेज के लिए मुश्किल है, माहौल झगड़े में बहुत बर्बादी हुई ना.
लड़कियों को घर में ही अब
काम दिया भी कोई.
In another resettlement colony, Shabnam, like Saiba, also wanted to be a teacher. The riots crushed that dream and ended her education.
जब झगड़ा हुआ, इसके बाद स्कूल नहीं जा पाए. पढ़ना चाहते हैं लेकिन डर रहता है.
The district administration may not yet have compiled exact data on the number of school or college dropouts, but as we travel across Muzaffarnagar's riot-impacted area, we hear the same stories.
दंगा हो गया था इसलिए आ गए थे यहाँ पे दंगे में.
It's not just Muslim settlements. In Pilari village, we came across a Hindu mohalla where almost 100 girls have been pulled out of school by their parents. This was just a week ago, and the reason, it seems, is love jihad propaganda, impacting the lives of girls as young as 7.
खराब है जी, हाँ बहुत माहौल खराब है.
तो डर के भी कारण आप लोग?
हाँ जी, डर के लिए इसीलिए नहीं जा रहे जी, नाम भेजना चाहते.
लेकिन पढ़ाई तो बहुत जरूरी है.
कुछ उसका समाधान होगा जी, ये भी भेजेंगे, इससे पहले नहीं भेजेंगे.
The Prime Minister in his very recent speech on Independence Day foregrounded the need for girls' education. But as this Muzaffarnagar story shows, any concept of women's freedom, their progress, their development becomes absolutely redundant in the face of communal conflict and the regressive politics around it. In Muzaffarnagar with Pooja Arya, Mohammad Dilshad, Rajan Singh, Radhika Bordia for NDTV.
Well, Radhika Bordia now joins us live from Muzaffarnagar on the eve of the incident, the anniversary of the incident that actually sparked off those riots. Radhika, give us a sense of how the situation is. We know that you've talked about the girls over there and how they feel about their future, but really on the ground in terms of livelihood, rehabilitation, what has changed and how sort of paramount is the sense of fear still?
Well, fear is paramount. I am in Muzaffarnagar city at the moment. There's been an attempt by the district magistrate to bring a show of communal harmony. They've just launched an entire candlelight procession for peace. But peace is elusive. Almost every day there's an incident which takes the city to a brink. People start fearing another round of communal violence. And then there is, of course, the question of all those who are still displaced. Many of them, some of them still in camps, others in resettlement colonies. And what these resettlement colonies across Muzaffarnagar really reveal is a very polarized society. Hindus, Muslims living completely away from each other, suspicious. Add to this the politics and some of the most regressive politics we've had. Love Jihad now, which is a buzzword. Everyone's talking about it, whether the BJP has got it off its agenda or not. And we were at a mohalla where 100 girls have just been pulled out of school on the grounds that they will be harassed by members of the other community. So it is a very tense situation. The force has been deployed extensively for tomorrow, where both the families of those initially killed will be doing their religious prayers. But the city just hoping that passes by peacefully. Maya?
Right, Radhika, thanks very much for joining us with that. As you said, candlelight vigils and peace marches, the official administration trying to push forward a show of communal peace and harmony on the eve of the death anniversaries of those 3 young men, those killings actually which sparked off the riots. Well, joining me to discuss how much things have changed or how much they haven't, as the case may be, in the studio with me, Shazia Ilmi, documentary filmmaker, journalist and also a social activist who's worked with political parties in the past as well. Joining me from Lucknow, we have the Congress Party's Rita Bahuguna Joshi. In Delhi, we have Gaurav Bhatia, the head of the legal cell of the Samajwadi Party from Noida, and Sambit Patra of the BJP, joining me from the BJP headquarters in Delhi as well. Gaurav Bhatia, I want to take this actually first to you, because we're talking about what the official administration, the state government is doing to ensure that the next couple of days pass off peacefully in Muzaffarnagar. My colleague Radhika Bordia just highlighted the peace marches and candlelight vigils, but do you think that's going to be enough, because there is a palpable sense of fear?
No, Maya, first of all, I think it is a good initiative taken by the district administration to have this peace march. And I was seeing that people from both communities participated in this peace march. This is only one of the efforts that the state administration has taken. Apart from this, I have spoken to the commissioner of the Saharanpur range. He is also monitoring the situation there, and the feedback that I have got is that DM, SSP are having active dialogues with the respectable members of both communities, and I think there is a lesson to be learned from the Muzaffarnagar riots. Lesson is that lives are valuable and both communities can live in harmony if the outside forces don't come and try to create communal atmosphere in the region.
Okay.
They have existed there for a long time. I think it is high time that even political parties don't try to vitiate the atmosphere in Muzaffarnagar or sensitive regions like Saharanpur and Shamli.
Fair point, Gaurav Bhatia. As we are saying, though, it does take 2 hands to clap. We know that the Supreme Court had also, in fact, reprimanded the Akhilesh Yadav government for not anticipating that violence. But let's take it across to Sambit Patra of the BJP. As we're also, I see on our screen, we're joined by Sharad Pradhan, senior journalist from Lucknow as well. We'll come to you in just a moment, Mr. Pradhan. But Sambit Patra, I want to ask you, on the eve of this anniversary, yesterday we were reporting how Sangeet Som, one of the BJP political leaders in that area who was accused of inciting the violence last year in Muzaffarnagar, has been now given Z+ security category. Doesn't the state government sort of, and the central government rather, see that as a contradiction, that there is this kind of protection being given to a man against whom there are serious charges that have been levelled?
Maya, I believe everyone in the panel realizes the fact that the central government does not accord any security to a person at its own whims and fancies. There are inputs by the intelligence, and as it appeared in almost all the newspapers yesterday, saying that the intelligence had specific inputs, that there was threat to the life of Mr. Sangeet Som, and there were intercepts of phones also which were made proving the same. And that's the reason as to why this was accorded. It is the duty of the central government to protect the life of its citizen. And Mr. Sangeet Som is, I believe, is a representative of the government also in Uttar Pradesh. And let me remind you that Mr. Sangeet Som was provided by Y category security by the Uttar Pradesh government on the orders of the High Court of Uttar Pradesh. So I believe Mr. Gaurav Bhatia would also agree to the fact that the Samajwadi Party was trying to protect the life of Sangeet Som on the insistence of the High Court. So I believe we should not go into a debate. We should not go into a debate whether security was rightly provided or not. But most important issue is, you said that Sangeet Som was trying to incite the communal violence in Muzaffarnagar. But ironically, you also spoke about the Supreme Court verdict. The Supreme Court observed 2 points. The first point was there was a lackadaisical approach by the administration of Uttar Pradesh, due to which the Muzaffarnagar riot took place. And secondly, there was an intelligence failure by the centre. So I believe both Gaurav Bhatia and Rita Bahuguna ji have to answer today as to why they did not take strict action then to prevent Muzaffarnagar riots.
All right, okay, we'll bring that. In fact, Gaurav Bhatia, go ahead. We'll take it to Rita Bahuguna Joshi as well, but very quickly, Gaurav Bhatia, interject.
Yeah. I would want to just let my friend Mr. Sambit Patra know that the Supreme Court wasn't dealing with the criminals who have orchestrated this crime. In fact, more than 10 senior leaders of the BJP are facing trials, and they have been charge sheeted. And it is so difficult to understand the logic behind giving them the highest security cover, because today I learned that other accused, Mr. Suresh Raina and Sadhvi Prachi, are also now demanding Z+ security, whereas the common man suffers in Muzaffarnagar. The perpetrators of crime are provided with the security cover.
Okay, all right, Gaurav Bhatia and Sambit Patra. Let's bring Rita Bahuguna Joshi into this as well. Ms. Joshi, you've also been asked this question by the BJP Sambit Patra, that at the end of the day, the UPA government that was in power at that time, there was also questions about the government's response to the Muzaffarnagar riots. But really, moving forward, we're on a year after that incident. What are the lessons that have been learned by our political classes?
Look, it has been one of the most painful incidents in the history of this country, and Muzaffarnagar riots will never be forgotten, because thousands of people were displaced, and the pain, agony, fear and suspicion still lurks in the minds of the people. When Mr. Patra speaks of this, let me ask him, 100 days have passed by of his government, and what is happening in UP? What happened in Moradabad, and who instigated it? What was happening in Meerut? What was BJP doing? Their own cadres were planning, and this same Som went there. He went to Moradabad and he made such inflammatory speeches. What are these people doing? You see, they only talk. The question here is, we are worried about the rehabilitation. Giving Sangeet Som Z+ security at a time when 1 year of this very painful riot was ending.
So when rehabilitation is not complete, we got your point. We got your point, Rita Bahuguna Joshi.
He was the instigator. He was a principal instigator.
Okay, Shazia Almi, you want to come in on this very quickly?
I think it's highly ironical, really, and it baffles me as to when you saw the package by whether it's a Sahiba, a Muslim girl, or Shivani, a Hindu girl, while they live in a state of fear, perpetual fear, and they're not able to carry on with their normal lives, why protection will have to would be given to a person booked under a very stringent NSA, National Security Act, and 36 CRPF personnel will be provided 24 hours to a person from whom people need protection, from his words, the kind of words and actions that he uses. So I find it really ironical that the central government had to come
out. Okay, yes. Yes, Sambit, very quickly respond. We'll bring Sharad Pradhan into this debate
Maya,
as well.
two quick points. Let us not sit over here in the debate and start conspiring as to how we all eliminate Sangeet Som from this country or from this world altogether. And secondly, my respected friend Sazia Ilmi, let me remind you of the fact you should not speak on communal issues. We saw the video in which you say thoda communal ho jao. So I believe, which was visible to the world openly, we should not. No, we should not be hypocritical at all. We should not be hypocritical at all. We should speak what is in the heart. We should speak what is in the heart.
We are digressing.
Maya,
what I said in the video.
Yeah, we are
Don't put
digressing.
him on a pedestal.
Maya.
What do you mean by eliminating?
We are
Nobody wants to
digressing.
eliminate anybody.
All right, Gaurav
There's a law
Bhatia,
in
very
our land,
quickly.
in our land.
We must bring Sharad Pradhan. Gaurav Bhatia, go ahead, very quickly.
Maya,
Yeah.
I think the most unfortunate part is that the BJP government that came on the plank of development has been speaking about love jihad. Yesterday, Mr. Yogi Adityanath was talking about taking revenge from the minority community.
Yeah.
And the Prime Minister of the country is silent. So I think there is a lot of fear in the common man that if the leaders are also not checked by the BJP, then from where would they get this security? And the state government is ensuring that they get security and protection, but at the same time, public servants should not forget their duty.
I think we're all making the same point. We're all on the same page here, whereas the citizens, the ordinary citizens who might be victims are not getting security. Here you have a political leader, whatever the threat to him may be, he is also guilty of the charges that have been leveled against him, or at least he has been accused of those charges, rather, let me rephrase.